Hello, Pro. Topic of this day is letters styles. What email styles do you prefer? Do you write formal emails or informal emails? You might probably tell me that they are all formal. However, I can tell you that IT emailing is a little bit different. If we talk about formal and informal, there is a third type, which is called the semi-formal or semi-formal if you want to speak American English. Semi-formal emails are those that combine both formal and informal elements. Let's take a look at what formal emails are and when we use them. By the end of this episode, you're going to decide which style you follow in your day-to-day emailing. When you write formal emails, you have to be extra polite and very kind. You should use longer structures and very formal language. You use a lot of cliché phrases and do not use acronyms or abbreviations. You have to be careful with contractions. For example, if it's a formal letter, you do not contract don't. You have to write do not. That's a typical thing for formal emails. You have to think clearly about grammar structures. For example, in a formal style, you tend to use more complex structures like conditionals, passive voice, and all kinds of perfect tenses. Formal emails are typically used for certain situations, such as complaints or serious requests. In modern English, you would use a really formal email for a situation like writing to a bank with a complaint, or when I've bought something online and want a refund. In English communication culture, it's very important to be extremely polite if you want something, even if it is not your fault. For example, if you received a damaged device and now want to return it, you still have to be very polite, otherwise you might not get your money back. Let's take informal styles for instance. An informal style should be very close to spoken English. You can use short phrases, slang, phrasal verbs, and contractions without much worry. You can also use abbreviations and express emotions. For example, informal style emotions are not acceptable, like exclamation marks or emoticons, but in informal emails, you can use smiley faces. It's almost like chatting with people. The language and grammar should be very simple, and you don't need to worry about impressing people with your turns of phrase. Let's consider the third style, semi-formal. Like I said, this is the most popular style in the IT industry. So what is a semi-formal style? Well, here we are going to combine informal and formal elements. We use semi-formal style for day-to-day communication with basically business. We have to be quite reserved and avoid using a lot of slang, although certain types of jargon are acceptable. We still use shorter structures, but we stick to the format of a traditional formal email. For example, the opening and closing of our email are going to be more formal, while the body of the email can be quite informal. Here we can use contractions. Semi-formal emails often include a lot of phrasal verbs, with a lot of phrasal verbs in spoken English, which is why we tend to use them in written English as well, especially in IT. Since much of IT is based in the United States, you're probably aware that American English uses a lot of phrasal verbs. This is why in both spoken and written American English we use a lot of them. Do not forget, follow my channel, click right bell, click like, and remember that for software engineers, English is the second important thing after Java language knowing.